Yo, welcome back to the Jeffica YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over all of the National Dex doubles games that have been played in NDPL so far. We've had a decent selection of games so far. I think we're up to week 5 as of full completed weeks. So we're going to start off with this game, Terry Kusai versus, Farfamani. Looking just, like, off preview, I really like the double Intimidate here, Mence plus, Instant should stop Scizor from really going anywhere. The Finny can get a little annoying, but the presence of Wellspring plus Zerk, which are like able to kind of wall and out set up the Finny. Like the Zerkatry, if you look at it here, it basically hits every single mon and doesn't really have a lot of counterplay, especially with the Jirachi next to it, and the Mence and Incin supporting it. So let's see how this goes. We see Finny Incin into Incin Ogerpon. Overall, I don't mind this lead from either of them. I think, getting some chip on the board early on from Terry so that he can set up for a late game Zerkatry is pretty nice. If this is Specs Finny, I like this a lot more for Farfamani because they're able to just start clicking, they're really able to start clicking fairy moves into this team, which I like a lot. And if this is Grass Move Pawn, it can get a little awkward hairy for the Finny, so we'll see how this turns out. Okay, so Farfamani's Incin is faster. We'll see if they fake out War here. Okay, so just opting to swap out the Jirachi immediately. Terra Dragon immediately on the Finny as well. Oh, okay, so it's immediately Terra Dragon CM. I don't hate that play. I mean, realistically, you're not super threatened on that board. But the big problem is now you're sitting in front of 2 possible Encore users after having just used CM. And there's no, I guess, okay, because what you can do, you can pivot out with the Incin, protect the Finny, and have Fake Out online with like Zera or Rilla, which I don't hate here, because that'll also bait the Encore into the Finny slot. You can also Rocks here if you're Terry. Rocks is like a good progress maker into like the Torn and a possible non-boots Incin, like if it's AV Incin here, which makes sense given that there's, no, I don't think you need to be AV here because you have the Scizor. So then there's U-turn into the Mence, which, yeah, I think the Mence is fine here. I'm not the biggest fan of it because it could have just, like, it low-key could have just eaten a raw, like, Moonblast on switch in. But I think it's fine to, like, assume that the Finny is protecting here, even though it doesn't protect, which I don't necessarily like, because it's very easy for the Jirachi to just, yeah, see, the Jirachi just Encores there, and, like, I think it was very safe just to protect in Parting Shot, or protect in U-turn. I mean, albeit that does lose to, like, Encore the Incin, but at that point, it's like, I would rather have my Incin Encore than the Finny Encore. Like, I don't know, I'm just not the biggest fan of that play, because I feel like on this team, you either have Encore on the Rachi or Encore on the Ogerpon, and I feel like Encore Rachi, like, is much easier to slot than Encore Ogerpon here, but that's fine. Oops. How did I turn this on, Barrow? Anyways. Yeah, that was a pretty bad turn for Farfamani. Because now the Frustration goes up for free. I believe this is probably Frustration Roostments, too, so this is, like, really free, because any damage the Incin would do here is, like, kind of negligible in the long run. But yeah, and then this Scizor actually could be a little threatening if put in the right position. Yeah, I like the SD here, but no, what am I talking about? There's a full health Incin here. Yeah, there's like a full health Incin. I don't really think this is. Yeah, this is looking a little bit. This isn't looking great. Yeah, and there's the Encore again. Like, shit. Yeah, it's kind of just over. I mean, I think Farfamani lets all their setup sweepers get encored. That's literally all that happened. Like, all the setup sweepers here, like the Scizor, the Finny, they all just got encored, and so they had to, like, get forced out of position here. Like, Terry did a very good job of disrupting all the setup sweepers and preventing them from actually doing anything into him. So then we see the Rachi. Realistically, like, he's kind of just playing not to choke. I feel like he's very far ahead. Like, his mons, if you look at them, are, like, mostly at full health. So now that the Zerk comes in, and these Zerk always run Covert Cloak, so or almost always run Covert Cloak, so the Snarl and Fake Out from Rilla are, like, not really going to be doing anything. And so this Rachi is like really free reign to just follow me. It's like follow me plus oh the trick room is also really yeah, this is just over. Because now you just Terra or you don't even need Terra Fairy, but you can just gleam. That was a really, really bad fake out. I don't like that fake out at all. Yeah, because like it already revealed that it was Covert Cloak off of the Zera Snarl. That was not a good fake out at all. But yeah, like I mean, it was already probably over even without that fake out. But like, still, I did not like that at all. I don't think that was good from them. Yeah, and then she's like so much value out of Encore this game. Like, I think Far From Money just did not play around Encore at all. They just let their every mod on their team get Encored for no reason. So this is just like beyond over. And then they swapped in front of the like plus now plus six circuitry. Like I just yeah. They just didn't really do anything to stop the circuitry from setting up, which cost them the game. Alright, that is Shister versus Kunal. So that's my teammate, my goat Kunal. Holy shit. But yeah. So Shister he has brought this team before. This is a known Shister team. So the thing like we didn't really run many practice games into this exact team, at least not with the six that we ended up loading. But we did know about it going into it. So let's just see how the game turns out. We see Finny Landers, which I like. I'm not sure about Finny Landers here, actually. I feel like I would have liked to see. I don't know. It's hard to lead into this team, right? For Kunal, because Basque Legion on lead is really safe. It feels really safe for Shister here. Because like realistically, his only Basque Legion switch in is the Finny. And any like countermeasures to the Basque Legion can just be kind of taken care of by the Psychic Terrain or the Brute Bonnet. Like I would have liked to see something like a Basque Legion Torn here from Chister maybe. Especially because it's Choice Scarf Basque Legion here. It really means I can just flip turn out for free on like the Landers and take like a good 60 out of it, especially if it's like I believe it's AV on this team. It looks like it should be AV here. But yeah, I don't hate guard lead either because it does immediately put out a lot of pressure, and especially because Kunal led with the top of Finny, it means you can just immediately swap in E-Force if needed or wanted. But also this lead is kind of passive into Heatran, which I don't like. Okay, so we see that. That means there's going to be a Supersonic Sky Strike coming out somewhere. Oh yeah, so having the Finny take that very early, as I don't think that's very good, right? Because realistically, having the Finny take that means that your swap-ins to prevent the Brute Bond from sporing and the NDD from getting the NDD Gardevoir from getting E-Force is like much worse. So it's a little hard now. And yeah, and that's just a really bad turn one for Kuno. And now the CM on guard is actually pretty annoying here as well, but it being Flash Cannon is good. Because it means that it's able to actually keep up the pressure into Gardevoir a little bit, whereas if it was like Eruption, it wouldn't be able to do that quite as well. I mean, Eruption, if it's triple Eruption, it probably has similar rolls into the guard. But regardless, this being is good here. So then the Basque Legion, yeah, the Basque Legion comes in for free here, which is like really bad because that's someone you want to come in free the least if you're Kunal, honestly. It completely eats that flip turn, which is kind of crazy. Oh, but then it just dies. So yeah, this is a really awkward spot for Kunal, but yeah, because now you just lose your Finny. That's terrain control gone. That's your only water switching gone. It is Eruption Tran. Okay. Which just barely fails to KO the NTD. Yeah, this is a really awkward spot for Kunal. I'm not sure I like this very much. That was a good Earth Power though, I will say. Like catching the NDD not follow me there was a good call. And then yeah. Oh, and the grass Tran too. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So he's definitely clawing his way back for this one. But the yeah, but clicking flamethrower put him a bit far behind because there's not really a lot you can do there. And this Indeedee kind of just sits on the field and clicks buttons now, which is like really unfortunate. Okay, so it's not in range of anything from the Heatran, unfortunately. This is like maybe not over. You just need to like wake really early on the turn. But if I recall correctly, this is also pollen puff on group on it too, so you can always just pollen puff the NDD, which is really unfortunate. Yeah, this is looking pretty cleaned up, realistically, because now the Basket Legion, now the Basket Legion just clicks buttons and it's just like, it's kind of cooked. Yeah, now the Torn sleep, falling asleep there is just not alright. But yeah, I think, here, let me take this from the top. I think I think realistically, in hindsight, obviously, um, you probably can't lead with Finny here, which makes this really awkward, right? Because you don't necessarily want to give Basket Legion so much early progress, but you also don't want to give Guard so much early progress. Like I feel like this matchup is pretty like suspect for Kunal. Something I would have liked to see is like a Tornadus plus Marshadow lead from Kunal. Because basically what that means is that like you're able to immediately pressure the Guard. Um, if a DD's led, you're able to swap into Finny immediately. If you're basically the Marshadow pressures everything on his team except for the Tornadus. The Tornadus is able to like actually pressure speed control immediately. I think I would have preferred that at good amounts. Oh, and if I recall correctly, this Heatran is actually Iron Defense too, so like it would have been even better to have that here, off lead just to steal the boost if it tried setting up. But yeah, I think overall I would have preferred a Marshadow lead here because I think the Finny lead just put him so far behind. But I can understand why he led Finny, especially because the Basket Legion is really scary. Like it's super scary, but just like, and also taking the Z on the Finny turn one just like made it much harder to win from there because like the Ndidi and the Basket Legion, like the only thing that's stopping the Basket Legion from just clicking flip turn like for free and just getting in something that takes on the board better is the Finny, because like it's a free click into literally everything else, but into Finny it's like a little bit less free because it's just resisted, so it doesn't do as much damage, and that's like your only water switching on the team. But yeah, I think the line is probably Marshadow, but you do also have to make sure you preserve either the Kangaskhan or the Marshadow late game, because otherwise you just lose to Last Respect. But I think this is a bit of a cooked matchup for Kunal overall. I think it's playable, but I think just this turn one was so really bad for him. I feel like he just didn't make any progress off of that, and then the Z going immediately into the Finny was just like, I think it was probably not game over from there, but it was much harder to come back. All right, so on to the next game. Voltix versus Akaro. Okay. Off rip, this Ninetales Alola looks like fucking LeBron James into Voltix. Outside of the Heatran, which the Heatran also looks pretty good here. Albeit if this is like CM Finny, like CM Finny plus Ninetales looks very strong into Voltix offensively. Same with like SD Gambit late game. Even the Gouger, you just have to be careful of this Heatran. I think the most important mod in this matchup for Voltix here are the Heatran and the Diancie. Because realistically, if you can position either of those, then well enough, then you can secure the game. Alright, let's see it. Ninetales League makes sense. You want to get Veil as early as possible. Into Heatran Wellspring. So I think I don't hate leads. I don't hate these leads from either of them. If this is Subtran, I like it a lot. But that was a bad turn one. Oh, that was yeah. I respect the encore though. I think that's a valid play. Like going for the encore on the Kang fake out is pretty valid. It did not work out here though. Like Akaru just clicked S toss. Losing to A-Tails is kind of bad immediately, but getting Veil is still probably worth it. And getting Veil for that much chip on Heatran is absolutely worth it for Akaru because of how annoying this Heatran is, especially into the Gouging Fire late game. Yeah, I feel like this board state is just very passive into the Kangaskhan, which is the big problem here, right? Like, Kang is able to just kind of sit on the field and click S-Toss, which is not what you want to see here. And it's also the Voltix Steel EMZ, right? It's not even Fire EMZ. It can't even really like threaten to KO this Gambit, right? Which is just kind of problematic for Voltix, because now this Gambit gets +2 for free. And at any point, the Gouger can come in, and you can just start clicking buttons. Yeah, and then the Heatran dies, so it's kind of like, at this point, there's not a whole lot that's stopping the Gouging Fire. There's not a whole lot that's even stopping the King Gambit, especially with this full health Kangaskhan able to just start clicking S-Toss again. Okay, so this is Grassy Seed CM Bolt, which looks kind of good here, actually. You just have to be careful of Finny late game. So you kind of have to preserve Rilla here, right? But, like, you also don't necessarily want to sack either of the back two mons. Yeah, not taking an S-Toss is just so bad here. It doesn't help that, like, that also doesn't kill, which is, I don't know if that's a roll or not. It could be a roll. But the Gambit just being able to click Kowtow here for free and not even having to, like, fuck around with Sucker Punch my— oh, even— hell, SD? Shit. Yeah. This is probably over. I just don't really see how, Voltix breaks the King Gambit. Oh, especially not if it's Misty Seed. Yeah, that guy just, like, you can really just click, Kowtow over and over again. Especially with the Finny being in is, like, okay here. Getting that— oh, it's T-Bolt. I don't like that. I don't like non-grass— I don't like non-Thunderclap bolts. That feels really suspect to me. Just like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I feel like you'd want stronger speed control if you're going no Thunderclap. Or even, like, stronger support. Because, like, I think the thing— Bolts really needs Thunderclap so that you can't just, outspeed it and pressure it. Like, I don't think Bolt is bulky, but I don't think it's quite— I don't think the tier is quite friendly enough to it to allow it to do that consistently. But yeah, so the Bolt dies. Because of the Terra, this Gambit is, like, basically unkillable now. Yeah, like, I don't— the Diancie can't really touch it. And now the Matcha can just click Matcha Gotcha for free, and this is going to be really strong to the Diancie. Yeah, and at this point, it's just like, there's not— and the burn is just insult to injury. There's not really a whole lot that either of the Voltix can do here. Like, if you get hella defense boosts on Diancie, it's, like, maybe workable. But I think at that point, it still just dies to Couch. It surely just dies to Couchopolis Matcha. Gotcha. And you also have the Kangen back too, so if, like, absolutely necessary, you can just focus everything around it, and then since its base HP is really low, then what's it called? Seismic Toss is really effective into it. It's also notable that this King Gambit is either very fast Sinistra or very slow Sinistra or very fast King Gambit, which is interesting. I feel like the slow Sinistra makes more sense here, right? Because I don't necessarily think there's any speed control that you would creep Gambit for. I mean, I guess you could just creep it for the fast hands, but I don't think that's entirely necessary here because you don't really have any good speed control on this team. It might be ISO and Ninetales or, like, Scary Face Gouger, but I don't know. Do you need something, sir? Do you need something? Oh, you're going in bed. Cat moment. Anyways, okay. But yes, this one's pretty much— this one was— it's a well played game from Hikaru. I think the matchup wasn't great for Voltix, but those, like, early turns— I think the common theme between the couple replays so far is that these early turns have just not been going well. Like, realistically, getting that chipped on Heatran so early was so bad for Voltix. Like, this turn one was really dog shit. Because it just means that the Heatran took, like, over half of its health for basically nothing. Like, the Ninetales dying is fine, because you still have Veil up, and that's all you really need Ninetales for. Like, Veil plus, like, some nebulous disruption later on in the future, but, like, the Veil is the most important part. So, getting Veil here is just— it's a really positive trade for Hikaru, I think. Having that positive of a trade, like, this early in the game is just so good for him. So where I think he's able to convert that really well into a win. But that's game number 3. All right, and this is gonna be the game number 4, the last game of week 1. All right, so now we have Sea Life versus Tio. I think yeah, this is definitely. I've seen the structure loaded up on ladder a bit. I think Sea Life has been spamming this for a while. This Glimora sun structure, which I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not the biggest fan of like Rilla Ensign on sun. I think it's in. I think you can have one or the other, but I don't think you can necessarily afford both. Into this TR Rain team. I think this is a Z team, or this was something made during. This was something made during Derby, if I recall correctly. I don't think. I think it was part of Z's team dump. But yeah, so now we have the leads: Fluttermane, Zard, into Vish, and Pow. I think off rip, this looks pretty positive. Oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna say it looks positive for Sea Life because I thought it was Charizard Y, but it is not Charizard Y. It's Charizard X. So this lead is actually probably worse. Yeah. Okay. That is this. Yeah. So not only was it Charizard X, it was a Charizard X that was slower than Max Speed Jolly Scarf Dracovish. I think this game might have been over on turn 1. Yeah, I don't think there's. I surely thought this was Zard Y. I don't understand why it's Zard X here. I can't lie. But yeah, now Amoonguss just. I think, unironically, I think Amoonguss solos the rest of this team. I don't think there's really a way out of that. Like, yeah, I don't even think you need to like fuck around with this Azor. You can just click buttons into. Oh, and it's Terra Rock Rillaboom too. That's kind of cute for like Zard. I don't know if that crit mattered, but like realistically, it's kind of already over. Yeah, this Ensign is really the only way they have a fitting Amoonguss. So like you can just swap in Pelipper and Spore here realistically, or swap in Archer. Yeah, like Tio can basically do whatever he wants here, and it's kind of over. Yeah, it's a pretty disappointing performance from Sea Life. I feel like the problem here was the fact that it's the team. I don't understand why it's Zardex here. I don't feel like it really brings a lot to the team. It really should just be Zard Y. It being Zard Y here means that like you can lead like Specs Flutter versus Zard Y into this team, and like that's a much more positive trade for the Flutter Zard. Like into this lead, you can just Icy Wind Heatwave, or like yeah, you can Icy Wind Heatwave, and that's a very free lead here. You just have to make sure that your Zard is faster than Max Speed Fish, which I think is a very valid way to run your Zard. I think you probably should not be running slower. You definitely should not be running slower than Max Speed Fish. Yeah, like you should be able to just Icy Wind and you should be able to Icy Wind and Ochre the Fish. Like look, Icy Wind Heatwave here would have been very free if it was Zard. Zard Y and Specs Flutter. Because like the POW dies. The Vish doesn't die. Well, it might. It doesn't. I don't think it dies if you Terra Ghost, but it takes a fuck ton, and then it doesn't even KO the Zard back with the Vicious Rend, and then it's kind of just like cooked from there. You don't really mind sacking mons to the Vish like early game if you can like take the POW turn one. I don't know. Even then, I feel like that's kind of cooked. This is just kind of a. This is a good team in fishing this like weird double fake out. I don't even know. I know. I don't like the Sea Life load in this week. But yeah, so that's week 1. On to week 2. All right, week 2, Terry versus Kunal. This week we got a Sandmirror, Sandrakovish, Jirachi, with the 3 different mons being on Kunal's side: Landers T, Ferrothorn, and Ogrepon Wellspring, and then Iron Hands, Tornadus, and Ogrepon Hearthflame. So if you look at this, just off the lead, I'm not gonna lie, the Iron Defense Ferrothorn looks really scary. Like as soon as you get rid of the Hearthflame, or as soon as you tear the Ferrothorn, this looks really hard for Terry. So let's see what happens. Jirachi Lando lead into Torn Hands. I like this lead a lot from Kunal actually. I feel like the Rachi does a very good job of dissuading the Z Torn, which I assume it is Z here. It could be like some other random item like Sash or whatever, but I would assume it's Z because Terry knows how to build in this tier. And Z is like definitely the best set. Yeah, fake out Iron Burps on Iron Burps on the Pharaoh is nice. It's not like the best thing in the world. But Rock Step is pretty big for Kunal, right? Because it means the Torn, if it ever gets forced out, it's not coming in for free again. The Hearth Flame, it's not coming in for free either, which makes it much easier to like bait out late game. Okay, Cianson, there's the Lando, not trying to bait the trying to finally like bait the Supersonic Sky Strike, or just to like intim cycle the hands. Okay, into the CC. Yeah, so I would say like Kunal's doing a very good job of trading down this early game. Kind of playing safe and positionally to like he's just making slow progress making plays because he can kind of afford to do that because the matchup is pretty good for him, I would say. The Pharaoh is just kind of sitting it back, like waiting to come out. All right, the Dracovish is in and then gets T-waved on entry, which is really bad. That was a great play from Kunal, like because you like pressuring the hands with Lando and covering for the swap with T-wave was a really heads up play, and now it just means that like this Vish is like super neuter because even with Sand up now, this guy ward with Tailwind up, it's still going to be slower than a lot of mons, and it's already going to have a hard time making progress here between like Ferrothorn and Ogrepon. So now this is like Terrifier Pharaoh. This becomes like much better for it because you can probably remove this much easier. And if you can remove the Vish, that's like the biggest obstacle to Terrifier Pharaoh just sweeping on the spot. Still no Z from Torn, which is not what you want to see for Kunal. Alright, there's a U-turn. So I believe Jirachi should live this double up. Damn. 40, yeah, okay, and there's this, yeah, there's the Z. Z coming out is huge, because now it means that, like, his best way to pressure Ferrothorn at this point is either a hand CC or an Ogrepon, Ivy Cudgel, which is not, oh yeah, and then the Torn just dies too, so now it's like, you can't even taunt it. If this is Encore Rachi, you might have like some way out, but even then you still don't really have any ways to hit it. So this is kind of cooked, I feel like, for Terry. Like as soon as the Torn, the Z gets exhausted and the Fish gets parried, it's kind of like not good anymore. Okay, just this is realistically just light chip, and then I'm not sure. I super like sacking the tar there, but like realistically, I think it's what else do you do? Yeah, I'm hating for no reason. Realistically, yeah, no, because now you just bring out Pharaoh, Vish, and it's like, yeah, you can't even really do anything here. Because now it's just Iron Defense, Iron Defense, Iron Defense, Iron Defense until the game's over. You can probably Terra here, maybe? Oh, and it being Terra Water, too, is really bad. Right, because it means that, like, now that it's Terra, you can't really hit it outside of, um, yeah, you can't even hit it, really. It's just, now it's a max defense. It's, like, kind of just doing whatever. Yeah, like, and then this Ogrepon living is good too, because now you can just redirect, body press, redirect, body press, redirect, body press, and it's kind of just over. The miss is kind of big because it could have been a crit or a flinch. Flinch would have obviously been a little bit more impactful there because it means that the Pharaoh does not get a body press off, and it would be able to be locked into Iron Defense again, which is pretty big. But yeah, because it didn't get flinched, now it's just locked into body press, and it's kind of over, basically. Like the Pharaoh should just solo from here. Like it is flinch critable. Like realistically you can flinch this out. Especially with like the combination of Rachi and T-Tar, but yeah, but now the leech after the leech land, it's kind of over because now the Pharaoh actually has healing, and even with Iron Barbs on the Rachi, you're still probably like out damaging it long term. Yeah, this is just over. You need like a mega crit on the Pharaoh. Yeah, it just dies. All right. But yeah, that's Pharaoh Thorn gameplay. I think Kunal did a very good job early game of like baiting out the Tornsey. He played very, very patiently around the Tornsey. Like, I have to give respect to both players here. Like Terry, Terry took a very long time to actually use the Tornsey, and especially like recognizing that like you need to see the Ferrothorn specifically, and you can't like afford to mess around with that. I respect that a lot from Terry, and he held on to it for a very, very long time. I think he probably should have just like swap the Torn out at some point because realistically, you're not going to make progress into Landorus Jirachi very well with Torn. I think he probably should have pivoted a little bit earlier. Once it became clear that he was just going to get like, I think probably here is where you pivot um, out of the what's called out of the Torn. But yeah, I think Kunal just played this early game very patiently, and he just took his time with it and made sure that yeah, he just locked it down really. Like the rocks did a very good job at forcing pressure. Um, the Pharaoh just came in and he made sure to preserve all of the follow me mons that would be needed to redirect the encore, so he could just click body press and win. But yeah, overall, very good, very clean game from Kunal. And Terry definitely like he did put up a good fight despite like having a very like a somewhat bad matchup into Ferrothorn, I think. Or at least like a bad matchup once the Flyzy Torn got exhausted. I think Terry definitely had outs here. I think he probably should have. Yeah, he definitely should have saw the Torn. But it was a good game. This is probably the best game of this week. Or at least the most like both sided game for this week. Oh well, I guess this is the next week now. But yeah, okay. Anyways, week 2, game 2. All right, this is Far From Ronnie versus Akaru. I would imagine this is Screens Regieleki, because I don't think any other sets are really real in this tier. And then this is a Glimmer team for sure. This is a Glimmer Circuitry, meaning I think it's Follow Me Blastoise. Yeah, like Fake Out Follow Me Blastoise, Sub Heatran, Lefties, Cobra Cloak Circuitry. Yeah, it's a good team. And then a Cars load, I like it. This is an interesting load. I think it might be a little bit soft into Fluttermane, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Yeah, like looking at this team, like even the Zergotry looks very strong into this team. So I'm curious to see how Akara navigates this. Looking at the leads, I don't mind a Lando I lead here. I think that's good. The problem is I don't see much of a reason not to just lead Zerg. Yeah, I really don't, because like realistically, the card does not have many good ways of making progress into Zerg off lead, especially because it's Covert Cloak. Like unless he leads Lando I, which you can definitely get around by reading like Rillaboom or Blastoise alongside it. He's not really gonna make a lot of progress here, so I'm not the biggest. And then especially the immediate Terra too, like in the immediate Terra, and we don't even kill the Finny. I don't like that. Yeah, like I feel like if you're gonna like immediately Terra, you might as well like bonk the Finny. And it's also it's probably Specs Finny based off that damage. But yeah, now the Mence is like still alive, so if this is Bruce Mence, it can just come back in for free later. Um, Now the Blastoise comes in, but why did we not? Okay, actually, I don't understand why we didn't protect there. Why we protect there? I don't like. There was no reason for the Mence to stay in, and the Finny like was definitely threatened out by this Landorus. I don't think there was any reason to protect the Landorus there. Like if anything, you have to like push your advantage. I think he just played they just played passively there, which I don't like. We trade fake outs. I don't know. I mean, imagine if this was Circuitry and that was a Cobra Cloak. Like, imagine we just forced Circuitry turn 1, and then they could just set up and probably just win on the spot. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so now the Mence gets in for free, and then, yeah, the Mence just gets in for free, and we get screens. And it's just kind of just like he's just making so like Ricardo's just making a lot of progress off of these like very measured plays. Well, I feel like the I feel like Farfamani's just getting caught in like every little trap that Ricardo's placing for him here. Yeah, like he's just getting red. Like that turn was kind of gross. Like doubling the Blastoise here on the Lando Protect is kind of gross. That like now you're just so far ahead because you can if it's probably E-Webs, lucky, so you can just E-Webs Sansear and it's like super free here. Yep, there's E-Webs and Sansear or even EP. Yeah, I respect that. That's a based Sansear click. Risking the game for no reason. It's fine though. Even if like it like dies, it doesn't really matter. You don't like super need to like it at this point. It's already like it's already a little bit cooked um for our money. And this is mixed mints here. This is not a damn. That was a wild crit. That did a fuck ton. Oh, it is Roost mints. Okay, it is Roost mints on this team, so it's not mixed. And then oh, Z parting shot. Oh no. Then the Mets just gets healed for free. Oh no. Yeah, this is like really cooked. Yeah, and okay, it's return too, so it just gets intimidated down. Yeah, that sucks. The Blastoise living that's kind of big, but it just doesn't really do enough here to matter. Is it mixed Ments here or is it? We'll find. I guess we'll find out this turn. It is. Oh, it's DD. So it's probably the so there's like three basic Ments here. There's like mono. There's a Tailwind DD Roost fly, normal move or flying move. There's Tailwind Roost flying move, um, protect, and then there's mixed. Um, I think Roost Ments is very good in this tier because basically what you're able to do with it is you're kind of just able to sit on the field and you're able to like not necessarily play passively per se, but you're able to take advantage of other people's passivity, and also because there's not a lot of mons. Like if you look at like stuff like Lando Eye, stuff like Heatran, and stuff like Rillaboom, those mons are not really able to hit Mens all that hard. So if you're able to just kind of sit there on the field and roost, then you're kind of able to wall a lot of mons in the tier. I mean, there are certain things you have to be scared of, like obviously like Chen Pao, Tapu Fini, and if positioned right, and also like Fluttermane. But overall, it's just a very good set in this tier because it's able to kind of like just kind of stick on the field and set Tailwind and be like bulky and fat and live a lot of hits. Match Tailwind, but now this Mence is just like King Von here, like straight up. You can just play really safe with it. I don't. The problem is the problem with how Farfamani played this entire game. The circuitry has not come out at all, which I think is a big problem. I think you should be playing into circuitry with this team. That is like the most broken thing about it. Yeah, now it's just circuitry gaming. Like, oh wow, yeah, that does over half to Heatran. It's crazy. Oh, okay, actually, this getting a tail off is kind of big, but like, there's no speed control. Like the Ments can just protect and then set Tailwind again, and then the circuitry will die to Sensor Storm, and it's GG. Or it'll die to. Oh right, it's not. Yeah, okay, never mind. I'm actually like dumb because this is definitely not protect Mega Ments. This is absolutely Bruce last move. But regardless, this is still pretty. Actually, this is kind of a game. This can get a little hairy, but no, it's not that bad. It's like fine. Yeah, with that double sack, it's like fine because now all of you just have to make sure you don't. Yeah, you just can't attack the. I say you just can't attack the Heatran this turn because I think the Heatran sack was pretty obvious there, right? So now that because you want to like sack the Heatran to like Sansear or whatever, and then get the Rillaboom and so you can recycle Fake Out. Yeah, I like that play from Hikaru a lot because it covers for the swap in, or it covers for the stay in because you're pressuring a lot of damage onto the Rillaboom. But it also covers for the Heatran swap because it means you're not removing the Heatran on this turn and allowing him to cycle back Fake Out. But yeah, now this is pretty much over because you can just Earth Power for free. Okay. Oh, I respected the earlier Sanseer, but if he'd Sanseer there, it might have made me a little bit mad. That would have been a disrespectful ass Sanseer, and that did a lot too. That's a hefty amount of damage. Yeah, and here you just sack the Lucky just for like guaranteed positional advantages. Yeah, and like the Finny comes in and it's just over. Like realistically, he can't really touch the Finny super hard. The Lando just outspeeds everything, and then it just dies. Yeah. Good stuff from Hikaru for sure. I don't I don't like that we didn't do this with Xurkitree earlier. Because if we had done this with Xurkitree earlier, this would have been a lot closer of a game. Because you would have been able to break. If you do this with Xurkitree very early in the game, it means instead of like leading Lando I into Salamence, you're leading Xurkitree into Salamence, which with wall Salamence, and is able to set up on it. And basically, like once Xurkitree is set up, like there aren't any real switching for it on Kara's team. So I don't like how this was played at all from Hermione's end. I think this should have been this definitely should have just been Tail Glow. Zergo Triangle. But yeah. Alright, next game. Alright. Shister versus Tio. Alright, this was a bit of a different special game. The week didn't matter. Because I think Tio's team had already lost, so he just reloaded. And then Shister loaded some interesting stuff. It's one of Shister's fun teams. Let's just say it like that. Yeah, this game didn't really matter for winning the week or whatever, so I think Tio just decided to reload. But yeah, and if you look at this bonnet, like, unironically, this bonnet puts in, like, a LeBron James performance. Like, it's able to taunt the Amogus, it's able, now it's, like, it has a decent speed tier, so it's able to spore. None of, like, Tio's mom can really touch it all that well, because it's, especially with Proto Defense. And as we'll see in a moment, let's just say Shister has a lot of ways of getting around this rain. Because it's fuck-ass sunny day Flare Main. You gotta love this Shister Nicholas guy, man. Shiesty Nick the goat. He clicked it again. What a madman. Honestly. This is just like a weird... Yeah, and then it's Sash, so he clicks it. Okay, he doesn't click it again, but he does get the Icy Wind off, so now, like, now he can also, yet again, click Sunny Day, and it's kind of just like, well, yeah. And he's, like, slowly but surely chipping down this Dracovish with the 4 times resisted move. Nice, man. This is truly a game of all time. Yeah, you gotta love the serious gameplay from Shister Nicholas here in this excellent occasion. But yeah, I don't think there's much to say about this game. It's kind of just Tio reloaded. Shister brought this LARP shit and pulled like the most excellent, insane matchup of all time. Like I actually don't genuinely, if you're Tio, I actually don't know how you win this at all. Like Pelipper, yeah, like I genuinely just don't understand how you win this. You have to get like mad fucking lucky with Chen Bao and stuff, I guess. And like Shister has to play like garbage. I think the matchup is just that cooked for Tio. It's very hard to make a rain team in this tier that doesn't just like lose to enough sun turns. That was really good spore targeting too from Shister. And the fucking Bonnet lives because Bonnet is disgusting. That's actually disgusting that lives. That's actually a pretty bad miss. But it shouldn't matter probably. Yeah, especially because it doesn't get the wake. Oh shit. wait, we might have a game. Yo, okay. Justice is served. That would have been funny as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. That's crazy. Honestly, at this point, I'm just along for the ride. Oh, nice. Nice, man. Wow. This is truly a game of all time. You gotta love the rock slide flinch onto the shroom. That's peak gameplay. Yeah, I don't know what to say about the. This might be the worst game of all time, man. Yeah, this is definitely the worst game of all time. Yeah, alright, man. That's fucked up. If that had gone into the tusk, this would have actually, like. Wait, what the fuck? I don't like this game, man. What is going on? Bro, how the fuck did Shister win this, man? Dude, I don't have words for this game. I don't have words for this abomination. I mean, I guess that's how you win if you're Shister. If you're TL. God fucking damn it, man. Dude. Yeah. Bro, I don't I don't have words for that game. Yeah, I'm gonna move on with my life. Alright, last game of the week. So this is the last game before going to week 3. We have Voltix versus Sea Life. Alright, so Rain. This is second rain load this week. I mean, I guess technically it's the second one, but like, I mean, I don't know. Do we really want to count TL reloading a team? Yeah, but anyways. So, um, if we're looking at off preview, our Chaladin looks really scary into Sea Life's team. Like, I don't really see how he makes progress unless this is like Ruination Chen Pao. I don't, and like Specs Finny, or like CM Finny, and it gets really set up. I don't see how he really makes progress into our Chaladon long term. Yeah, that works too. But like just chipping down this generally, like he needs to just like get a fuck ton of damage down to this Archaludon, because otherwise it's like really cooked. Oh, that living is really bad. I would surely that's a roll, like most certainly that's a roll. But that's like really bad for Sea Life, because this is probably not a double KO. Yeah, but it's like about as bad. Albeit like this Archaludon is really pressured here. Oh, but it's leftovers. Uh oh. Bro, wait, leftovers is actually Vaughn into this team. Holy shit. Yeah, I actually don't. And is this Sacred Pow? Okay, it is Sacred Pow. So this actually isn't quite as bad for Sea Life as you think, but oh, but it's yeah, but it's C. So wait, okay, that does just die. But if that didn't die, that would have been crazy. But yeah, this is just over. I think the Archaludon just makes like way too much progress here. It genuinely, it's like I don't really see how Sea Life stops it. There's no Lando Eye or anything like that that can actually like break it. Maybe the plus on Fitty can. I don't think it really does though. Yeah, and then just gets fake outed and yeah, like even here. Hold on, let me. I probably skipped a little far ahead, but the Finny gets another CM on a protect, which I don't necessarily think was necessary. I don't really think it was necessary, but like, it's whatever. Kills it. But the thing is, now the Bastille Legion just comes in, and it's kind of just like it's kind of just over at this point. Like realistically, water move just cleans. Yeah, because you can just yeah, you can share water wave crash and that shit dies, and it's like yeah. I just don't think Sea Life had anything for our Archaludon. I'm gonna be honest. I just don't think Sea Life did. It's just there's just nothing that he could have really done, which is like it is what it is. It's kind of just match up there. Maybe maybe if the Giants got up to trick room, I don't know how it would have. I mean, I guess it probably is it Steel move or Dragon move on Arch last? Probably Dragon move. And if that's the case, then maybe that INC could have gone Trick Room up if it was brought in earlier. Maybe, but I'm not sure. I think, yeah, I just don't think this was really winnable for Sea Life, unfortunately. Alright, so now we have Terry versus Akaru. Um, okay. I've seen this Sun team is like a pretty known structure. Basically, it's like it's a Kunal Sun team, but the original team is Lando T over Lando I, and I actually don't really get why it's Lando I here. I don't think Lando I is very good on this team. I think you definitely want it to be Lando T. Because you need the like AV Lando T on that team is actually so good because it means you can, um, realistically, it means you trade into other Zard Flutter really well, which like Lando I just sacrifices so much of the defensive utility you get from Lando T, especially AV Lando T, and it like makes the CM Bolt mode a lot weaker. But we'll see how this turns out. I will say, into this matchup specifically, Lando I looks pretty good, but I also think Lando T would have probably been just about as good. So it's I feel like Lando T would have just been better, right? Because it would have been able to intend the Mensarilla and the Rachi. It can actually pivot and it runs. Yeah, I don't know, and it can like more flexibly pressure the Heatran because it's AV. I don't know. I just don't understand why it's a Landorus incarnate here because it was definitely a Lando T on the original, and it definitely should have been a Lando T on this one. But anyways, we see Rilla flutter into Lando Rilla. Okay, Cars is revealed to be faster on lead, or it wins the tie on lead. So most likely, hmm, it's a bit of a weird turn one. I feel like you can just bring in Heatran for free, right? Like U-turn with if you're Terry. Because you don't also realistically need to risk anything with the Lando. Like the Lando's that just doesn't really do anything on this board. Rachi is valid too. That basically accomplishes the same thing. Oh man, but Karu got him with that. Yeah, I think that was a pretty. Yeah, I mean, like I called it out right. Like that's a pretty telegraphed swap from Terry. And catching the Rachi like that is so bad for Terry because it means that like, albeit he has two Steel types, so the pressure's not all on Rachi to like soak up Flutter Mane hits, but it still gets a little bit rougher from here. Yeah, this is getting the rocks up before it dies though is still really good. That's probably the most value you could have gotten out of Rachi after that turn. Um, which is that's actually pretty rough for Karu. Meaning like getting the yard like chipped that hard is really bad. If that Woodhammer had gone into the window slot, that would have been crazy. But yeah, it's fine. Both helmet Rachi on these, by the way, which is kind of funny. Alright, Toan comes out. Toan U-turn. Yeah, I was gonna say into their own Lando, but and then we trade rocks. I think rocks are a bit less valuable for a Karu at this point in the game than they were for Terry. Albeit like I feel like this combination is just really good right now. Like Terry's in a very good position with these two. Yeah, because he's able to just spam like Sansir, Hyper Voice, and there's not really a lot that Akaru can do to punish it. Okay, well now that might be in bolt range. If it's like offensive bolts, it might be. But it's like offensive bolts. You can't even bring in Zard though to set Sun, so we'll see. I don't think they don't usually run special roost, so that's not really a set. But I also the sludge bomb there was interesting. Calling the what's it called? Calling the Terra Fairy. The Zard comes in. This Zard could just die here. I don't like that at all from Akar. Like, yeah. I mean, okay, if it was a guaranteed live, then it's fine. Then I don't hate it. But like, man, that would have been really rough if it died. But yeah, I would assume it's probably not a roll. I would assume Akar probably knew it would live. That's fine then. But now this Fluttermane looks like Vaughn. Is this sick? Because you just do that for free. But if it's Fastland, it is Fastland OI. Or it's Slow Zard. It's probably bulky Zard to take that little from, or to live that hyper voice. My head calcs could also just be off. This is pretty winnable for both, I think, at this point. But now the Rilla is like looking really good here. Yeah. The Rilla is just really good at really able to pressure this Fluttermane here, and then the Heatran. Yeah, the Fluttermane's just not really gonna get a lot of value this game. I think a lot of that game, if it was just Lando T, it would have gotten a lot more value. Like straight up, if it was just Lando T, we would have been able to just come in and click more buttons. That would have been better into Terry's team. This is like maybe winnable with like a fuck ton of turns for CM bolts, but like, yeah, no, doesn't happen. Was it not Earth Power? If so, Terry, you're a fucking gambler for that. That's crazy. Clicking Sanseer there is crazy. Like, surely that means it must be Sanseer sub. Because not clicking Earth Power there is actually a madman move. Like, if you miss that and the bolt killed you, you honestly deserved it. I can't lie. That was. But I guess it's probably like it's either CM or Specs Finny in the back. So you can either trick it or you can like outboost it. So it's like not the end of the world, right? Like, yeah, you should always beat it. You know what? I respect the gambling. Anyways, next game. Alright, that's Farfamani versus Sea Life. Another Zerkatru team. From Farfamani. This is another Glimmer build, I think. This is okay. I think this is a little Glamora weak. Like if we look at it, I think Glamora hits every single mod on this team super effectively with its coverage and stabs. Oh no. Yeah, okay, that meant dies turn 1. That's not good. Oh, okay, but so the Glamora dies back. Actually, I think that's not a bad trade, but it's not a good trade either. I don't know. I don't like that. I think if you're just gonna set Tailwind. Actually, you know what? That was fine. Yeah, that was okay. The problem is that Rachi becomes a little bit problematic here, but you bring out Tar immediately, so it's like fine. And surely Mtar just like fucks up this Rachi. Yeah, and the Nihilego can't really even touch the Tar. So now like Tarvish is pretty free. Yeah. Tarvish is super free. I don't think we need to do. Surely we didn't need to Terra there, right? Like that's just surely like Vicious Run plus Rock Slide just KOs there. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Okay, if you're trying to catch a Fitty on switching, I guess that's fine. But like, no, because we should have probably saved it for Pharaoh. No. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. Depends on what the Pharaoh Terra is. That's an annoying miss on the Finny. Okay, it might matter. Actually, that matters a decent amount. How much is the Vish? Oh, yeah, now it's Terra Water, too. This is looking a little bit ugly, but not, like, super ugly. I think the Marsh being back basically means it's just over, right? Like, but these accuracy drops are kind of ass. You just need to bring in Pharaoh. Yeah, I was gonna say you just... Uh-oh. Okay, well, that was really lucky, because if I, like, the Marsh Shadow, you see, like, the only mon you can't let die here. Because if the Marsh Shadow is like still around, it means you can't set up safely with the Zerg, which is really good. Damn, that shit at 72. The double miss is pretty, like, that's unfortunate, but okay, at this point, I think it's over. I actually just don't think there's anything that can. Okay, wait, surely that was not the move. Surely we should just keep leech seeding. Like, surely we just leech seed forever, right? Okay, but it's not, okay, it's not encore. Or it didn't click encore, so it's fine. Yeah, alright, now this is over. But yeah, if this was CM Finny, there was maybe a way out, but no, it's Specs Finny. I'm LARPing. I don't know. This is a weird game. I feel like both. I feel like Far From Mighty's just been playing very oddly, and yeah, I just don't feel like they have any. I've seen any consistent game plans from them this time. Like this out of all the games I've seen. All right, so on to the next game. Okay, so now that we're back, TL versus Kunal. This is week 3. TL is bringing an Astral Nation shoe team. This is an Sea Life team. This, I believe, was posted in the Team Dump on forums recently. It's like Sash Weezing with max speed with Taunt, normal DOA, and I think it's slow as fuck SD hands with Psyseed. So this matchup overall, I think because of the Chiyu Fluttermane, this is pretty good for Kunal. But obviously DOA is really scary. The problem in a matchup like this is if DOA looks scary, and well, and also the Selly, obviously. If DOA looks scary, you shouldn't lead it. That's my usual philosophy with this. Like I think if DOA, um, I think DOA is better as a lead in games where there's either literally nothing that checks it, or games where it's just more efficient to break with it early game. Because I think a lot of times in the early game, when you still have a lot of your tools to deal with DOA, it doesn't necessarily break as well. So I think a lot of times DO is a better like late game cleaner than it actually is early game breaker. So we see here the Snarl, like if you look at this Deoxys is about to like it's either about to superpower the Chiyu, or it's about to nuke the Tornado, or like do half to the 75% to the Tornadoes. Actually, the Torn probably still dies even at -1. Let's be real. Yeah, so the Chiyu's gone, but at what cost? Like the Zard has speed control, or the Torn has speed control. The Torn can just Z the Charizard next turn. Like you can bring in Fluttermane, you can click D-Gleam plus Z into the Zard, and it's like completely free here. Yeah, I think that's exactly what Kunal does. Oh, it's okay. That's actually worse, but because now you have to Icy Wind, but it should surely die, right? Like there's zero way this lives. It has to like mineral. Damn, it's a fat Zard. Or it's a weak Torn. I think it must be a weak Torn. That would make sense. This is still a really good spot for Kunal, though. Yeah, I don't like... Yeah, no, we're just sacking things, basically. I don't really like this. I don't... Oh, okay, well... Wait, what was the point of that? Yeah, I don't know. I think he just genuinely does not gotten much value out of the Deoxys, which is kind of unfortunate, because now the Deoxys is, like, really exposed. And even this hands is, like, who cares? Like, the hands doesn't really do anything here. Because it's, Z. Not Z, SD. And SD hands doesn't really do Holma while here with Landorus and lurking in the back. This is actually... No, okay. No, taking a second look. This is a little bad for Kunal. Like, the Kang taking that much damage, the Fluttermane still being at full and back, but he needs... Tio needs to like get rid of the Selly ASAP, realistically. And so that's good. Down goes the Dio. Does he attack or does he SD? Oh, he SD. Oh no, I don't like that. You definitely needed to attack the Selly here. Yeah, I don't care for that much. And it's fast as Kang, so the Kang seismic tosses the Zard. So we sack the flutter. Oh, this is okay. This is a little dicey. This isn't Sash Flutter. Is this Sash Flutter? If this is Sash Flutter, it's a if it's a 50-50, but if not, then it's just over. Yeah, okay, it's just over. Yeah, because now the hands definitely can't 1v1 versus the Lando and the King together. Yeah, it's just over. I think Kunal did a good job there of just like, bro, Deoxys is such a threat. I think what I said at the beginning stands. Like, realistically, I feel like the Deoxys just didn't get enough value this game. And then Didi was sacked for nothing. Like, why don't low key we could have just led Wheezing here. In fact, I don't know why we didn't just lead like I don't know why we didn't just immediately swap in um Wheezing here on lead. Like I don't think there was a reason like you either kill the Torn or you kill the Chiyu. I think you kill the Chiyu here actually. And then you get in yeah, like if you swap Wheezing here, you bonk the Torn so it doesn't get Tailwind. The Chiyu, it snarls you, but then you can kill it next turn. So that's you already traded 2 for 1. And you're already in a much better position than you would have been otherwise. So I just don't necessarily like the way that this was played by Tio. I feel like you either needed to not lead Deoxys or you needed to be more immediate with the threat. But the Chiyu had a very good matchup here for what it's worth, even if it didn't like get the chance to show that. Like even bringing the Deoxys Sash is still a lot of value for the Chiyu. But yeah. Alright, next. Voltix versus Shister, the last game of this week. Okay, so this is like I think this is a sample team, or it was at some point. 3 rock weeks is a lot, so no Roxmon, unless this is like a Z defensive Landorus from Voltix. If it is, I would expect to see a lead here. Okay, this is looking like Z defensive Landorus then. Or just Rox Landorus, probably. If this is Rox Landorus, he's kind of in a good spot. I would say Voltix is kind of in a good spot, because this Landorus, it's not really doing anything to the opposing Landorus, and the Kang is like, it's able to fake out and just not have it do anything. Okay, there's fake out. And rocks. Yeah, there's the rocks. I think that's kind of bad for, like, Shister low-key. Because now, like, the Pow Sash is broken, the Entei is chipped, the Mence is chipped, and the Lando still fell health. Meanwhile, this Lando's Shister's Lando is still really low, and this Nihilate guys are really threatening. Okay, here's the Meteor Beam into the Salamence. Yep, that makes sense. I'm not sure I care for that all that much. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, it would have been. I think Tailwind. Surely Tailwind. Either Tailwind Moonblast or Tailwind. Muddy Water would be a bit better there. I guess. I don't know. I don't think. I think you always KO the Mence there. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely think you should always be attacking the Mence there. Because doing it like this makes your board state super. Like I really don't like Voltix's board state after this. I guess you're just bringing Torn and no. Now this Tapu Fini has really good a really good sport position here. Okay, there's this. Oh wait. Oh, that mattered a lot. It probably didn't matter after the like Nihilego chipped it, but That's still not great. Okay, I think Voltix might win this. I don't remember who won this, but this being Icy Wind is nice here for Shister, but I still don't think it's enough. There is a whole oh, and it's Specs. Oh, it's Specs Finny too. Yeah, I just don't really see how he makes progress into this. Although even the Lando is like so chipped. Yeah, I don't see how he does it here. Like, I think Voltix's Lando just puts on so much. Oh, okay. Well, that is definitely one way to lose it. I think the Lando taking so much chip on like injury is really bad for Voltix here. But the Torn coming in just means it's probably fine. Oh, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Yeah. Okay, well that one's over. I think Shister really just did not have a lot to deal with rocks. Straight up. Like I think the Entei was kind of dead weight here into the like Finny plus rocks. The Kang got a lot of value mid game. It's just a cool structure from Voltix. I kind of like it. The Kang plus like I guess the Kang like bulky offense is kind of cool. With the defensive Lando, it was a cool team from Voltix. It was good game this week. All right, on to the next week. Week 4. I'm not gonna do this in order this time, or at least I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do this in the order that it is in the doc or in the thread, because I'm gonna feature my game first. Okay, me versus Voltix. Basically, I was trying not to lose to Kieran Black. I was definitely expecting a Black Room load. My scout is not the best in the Black Room. Like I definitely have some teams on there that have not great Black Room matchups. Um, I I liked Archalon a lot into the scout. I just thought it was very strong. Obviously into this team, Archalon is like decent. It's good in the men's. Doesn't like to see the Amoonguss Flutter and Zerkatry, but we'll see what happens here. I have some excellent nicknames. Shout out to Aragon for the Amoonguss nickname. But yeah, so this turn 1 probably goes about as well for me as it possibly could have. The taunt into the Amoonguss basically just means that this Amoonguss is doing nothing into either of these mons. Meanwhile, I caught him on the Spore into the Fluttermere, into the Ensign, meaning both of these mons are full. I then proceed to Parting Shot, which is free into the Ensign slot, and then Spore his mens. So on the switch in, because the Amoonguss, obviously the Amoonguss was not like staying in there, right? So it was a pretty free Spore. Now I don't even have to risk Amoonguss coming, or Amoonguss doing anything. I can just bring in Pelipper, start clicking Electro Shot, start doing damage. And even from this bow, I can double the Pelipper, right? Like Hurricane plus Electro Shot surely KOs this, even if it does Terra. Right? Like at this point, Voltix is really far behind. Like he's lost his Amoonguss, so the boosted Archalon is kind of just sitting there. The Pelipper still doesn't even have its eject button procced, so I can like freely pivot in and out at any time. His Mence is asleep and back, so he can't set Tailwind on me, which means the Zerk is kind of dead in the water as far as speed control goes, outside of the Rachi possibly being Tailwind Trick Room. So then the Fluttermane comes in. Fluttermane Zerk is a little bit threatening here, but since I'm able to get the free pivot into Vish, I'm actually able to threaten a lot of damage here. Like, the Tail Glow is really scary, but this circuitry basically has to protect. Like, if it protect, it's kind of a 50-50 here, but it's not really a 50-50, because the Jerkovish here is kind of bait. I don't really have to do anything with it here. I can just swap it. Like, Amoonguss is completely free here. It walls the circuitry entirely. And clicking Draco Meteor into the Zerk is just really free. Of course, it's Terra Fairy, which he does decide to rip here. Not that it really matters, because even with the crit, +3 Zerk does not really do enough to Archalon to like significantly damage it. And then I can just click Spore. and it's kind of just like it's kind of just cooked. Because if you see, like, what happens here is now I have a very free thing I can do. The Fluttermane is not threatening my Amoonguss at all. So in order to make progress this turn, I do have to attack. I should attack the Zergature because I can obviously like threaten it afterwards with the Dracovish if need be. But he doesn't even attack my Archalon here. So now my Moongus can just spore the Fluttermane and it's literally just over. Yeah, like the Zergature dies, spore the Fluttermane. His Rachi's not going to do anything here. His Ensign, like, he probably doesn't even have enough to KO Archalon this turn. So, no, I felt really good about this. I think this is my first game played, and this is definitely my first game played in NDPL. I felt really good about it. Thanos Seamungus won. Thank you, Aragon. GG. Fire emoji. The load felt really good into what Voltix brought for sure. I think normally it's not Fluttermane on this build. I think normally it's like a Finny, or not like a Finny. I don't know. I think Fluttermane felt a little bit out of place on this build. And I think it might probably should have been Goggles Raji, because like the whole team is kind of spore weak. But I think this team is also not the greatest. Loki, I could never figure out the Side Spam Sun matchup. So I wouldn't necessarily pick this up again, but it was good into the scout. So yeah, wouldn't another game. Now on to the next one. Alright, Terry versus okay, well it says Terry versus TO on the docs, but it's definitely Terry versus Chris Numbers. Okay. Off rip, this Lando Eye looks like it has an insane matchup into Terry's team. Like, the only thing that really like beats it is the Ments, which gets kind of a little bit bullied here. But this is a very Chris Numbers team. This is a pretty good lead for Chris, because he's able to just like start making progress immediately with the Fluttermane, which is really good. Yeah, like it's a really solid chunk into both the gold and the Rilla. However, this is a free nasty plot for the gold, which is not the greatest. Unless it's Shadow Claw. It is Shadow Claw, okay. That's good, because it means you're not getting an entirely free Shadow Claw. I don't know if Double Edge into Make It Rain KOs the Incineroar. My guess is that it probably doesn't. Oh, it's Frustration too? Yeah, oh, and it's Shitters, yeah, so it definitely wouldn't have KO'd then. That's fine. I think that was a good protect from Terry regardless. Yeah, that's definitely in range. But then the Mence goes down. Oh, yeah, see, but now the Mence goes down and, oh, that doesn't even kill Kang. Wow. The Mence goes down and Chris can just bring in Torn and start, like, clicking speed control, realistically. Or he can just bring in, yeah, he can bring in Lando, sack the Torn, or sack that Kang, get in Torn, click Tailwind, and, what the Space Answers from. And it's kind of like, it's kind of unfortunate for Terra. There's the Terra on gold, again. It's a dead Kang. Oh, I think you had to plot there. I definitely think you had to plot there, right? Because I feel like, yeah, you need to just be able to force damage and like Oko the Torn. And I feel like if it's bulky Torn, you don't do that anymore, right? Alright, there's a Sanseer. If it's bulky Lando, surely this lives too. I was gonna say, yeah, like now Lando Genie's just wins, assuming it hits Sanseer. So, well, that's really unfortunate. Not that it really matters, because I think that's only a bit of a bad that was a bad bleak wind or sub click. I feel like it's nice to take advantage of any passivity, but like surely there's no way that bleak wind storm KO'd gold from that range. Like you definitely needed to either Z it or click both moves. And the crit on the Finny is kind of It doesn't matter because he killed Sludge Bomb anyways, but this low-key could get kind of dicey. Because double fake outs online. So I actually don't know how Terry wins this. Yeah. It's a little, yeah, oh yeah, this is kind of dicey, right? But, oh no, and then he just, oh no, he doesn't even, oh, okay, wait, he doesn't flinch. Wait. Wait. Hold up, what? Wait, why did we spiky shield? No, no, wait. Uh-oh. No, no. No. Oh no. No. That's really unfortunate. Sokatoa, that's funny. Bro, Terry's nicknames were so good too. Fuck. That's crazy. The iron, oh my gosh. Into the Diamond Storm miss is crazy. Fuck. That game fucked me up, low game. Anyways, okay, next game. Next game. We're gonna move on quickly. Alright, let's Akaru versus Sea Life. Another rain loaded this week. This time with Pert. This is a terrorist team from Sea Life. I can't lie. I know what this is the famous Sea Life team from Ladder. If you know, you know. But this is, oh my gosh, this is so. I just realized this is a lot of Incineroar Mungus this week. Like this was the third Incineroar Mungus loaded this week after me and Voltix both loaded Incineroar Mungus. I actually have not seen this game before, so this is kind of interesting. Oh, and this being taunt instant too? Wow, wait. That's actually really funny that me and Akari both had that like same concept. Amoonguss, Ensign, Pelipper, Archalon. I mean, I guess it's really not hard to like come by, right? I mean, it's obviously like one of the like least overstated or like one of the most obvious cores of all time, right? But like, yeah. Oh, that's a bad U-turn from Sea Life, or that's a bad swap. Like getting the U-turn into the arch, getting the stamina boost there is like kind of bad for Sea Life. The Ursulina comes in. Oh my god, side bullet seed. Holy shit. That's fucking holy cook. Dude, this arch is like unbreakable now. Well, except for the marsh, right? Yeah, so Sea Life just needs to position the marsh in a position in like a way that would allow him to like get the, oh fuck. Wait, the crit is actually crazy. Oh no. The crit the Z, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Is this min speed Among Us? Because if this is min speed Among Us, this Archilda might be going to bed. No, 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 Akaru, no. Oh, okay. The demon is dead. The demonic bell is dead. But like, holy shit, that was almost really tragic. I don't super care for getting your. Wait, hold up. Okay, wait. Why did we not click Spectral Thief there, man? Why did we not steal the boosts? Hello? Am I missing something here? I guess just headlong rush KO this? No, like, why didn't we steal the boosts? We just wait. Why didn't we steal the boosts? No. Why didn't why? Why? I don't And then why didn't we target the Amoonguss then, man? I don't. Alright, man. You know what? I don't know what to expect anymore. But yeah, from here it's a little bit difficult for like a. Oh, that was a great. Oh my gosh, that was a fantastic pollen puff from. That was a fantastic pollen puff from Makaro. Getting the pollen puff there on the arch means this is like way easier for Makaro to win this. But also the. That was a weird turn. Yeah, but I don't. Okay, I actually don't understand. Does I'm sure it just KOs, right? But man, Amoonguss surviving that turn, yeah, I just don't think he just can't really break Arch at this point now, can he? He has to get a Tailwind up with Mence, and then get Baron. Surely you just U-turn there, no? I guess U-turn might not KO them. Shroom, but... Uh-oh. Oh, so we... Wait. Why did we do that? Is it... Because now Rain... Grassy expires, so you can't even hit the pert. Oh, no. And then is this a dead Ursaluna? Okay, it's not a dead Ursaluna, but... It basically will be next turn. I don't know. This is an awkward game. Yeah, there's that ice that doesn't KO. Okay, that's actually kind of crazy that doesn't KO. Wait, wait. This is winnable still for sure for Sea Life. Wait, that's crazy that doesn't KO. Wait, what, bro? Ursaluna's crazy. That Liz, dude. This game has me flabbergasted, man. What? I feel like every turn that I think Sea Life is gonna do something, Sea Life does the exact opposite of what I think he's gonna do. This is ironically like winnable. If this is mixed ments, this is winnable. Which is just no wait, this is just one, right? Like if it's mixed ments, like if it's H voice Spence. Okay, it's harder that because it's not H voice Spence, but okay, now the purchase wins probably. Yeah, no, the per wins. Wait, why didn't it occur spore? No, wait. Oh no. Okay, no, wait, this is still super over. What am I talking about? Even though Rain lasts one more turn, it's still like you unless like Mint somehow lives this and then like mega crits the pert. What the fuck? Dude, what was this game, man? Okay, let me try to think constructively about this game. I think Akari used their Amoonguss really well. That was a yeah, that was a great Amoonguss showcase. Especially next to the Archaludon. I think there were just some really questionable plays by Sea Life here. Like, why was this not a Spectral Thief here? Is it like Poltergeist Marshadow or something? If it is, like, I don't understand why. I think Spectral Thief is the infinitely better move. But like, yeah, I feel like we should have definitely Spectral Thiefed here and gotten rid of the boosts. Because that way you can kill it with Ursaluna next turn, you can actually focus down the Amoonguss, because the Amoonguss, like, basically was at full the whole game. And if we can remove the Archaludon, like, we don't really have to care about steel types anymore. So the Ment's like pretty free low offensively into the rest of the team. And it prevents this following turn from happening where the Archaludon gets in for free and gets pollen buffed. Like this was basically the turn where Sea Life lost the game. Like the Archaludon coming in and getting the stamina boost for free, or the pollen puff for free, basically put him back in the game, or put him like way far ahead because it means now he can start making progress again. And all of that like progress that Sea Life had tried to make him do previously was just like completely undone in one turn. Even after this Terra, like he still has a decent shot because now it's like pretty heavily chipped for the Mets. But then the Umunga is just able to sit here on the field and like, yeah, this is just a pretty tragic game. I feel like if it was just Spectral Thief, then it would have been fine because he would have stolen the Archild on defense boosts and like it would have just been okay. And because you would have been able to break it with Ursula in the following turn, no matter what. But I guess you would have swapped it then, probably, for your car, right? Like, realistically, here. Yeah, you probably just swap it here, but even then, you that means if you're Sea Life, you can probably take advantage of it and, like, double the Amogus. Because it's already -2, so surely, like, or, like, not even double the Amogus. Why did we keep Marshadow in here? Like, it's either vulnerable to a Spore, or it's vulnerable to another Draco. So we can probably just swap Rillaboom in here for free, no? I don't know. I feel like there were just a lot of things that were done for no reason. Like the Marshadow was completely sacked. Yeah, I feel like Akari just kind of got the best of Sea Life here. That was kind of an unfortunate game to watch. Let me see. Okay, last one. Big Nana. Big Enza Nana versus Shister. The Team Argentina avatar for World Cup Pokemon looks really tough. This shit looks fire, Loki. But outside of Volcanion and possibly Rachi, this shit looks like it gets 6-0'd by Pharaoh. This is the same Kunal Sand team from earlier. Is this Rock Slendo? I would assume it's probably not. Yeah, I would assume it's probably Scarf or AV. Um, it's a nice 50 immediately from on the Tar or on the Rachi. Rocks, I don't necessarily think are. Oh, the rocks are good for the Volcanion, which is pretty good for the Pharaoh long term, and the fish long term as well. Getting damage on the Finny is also really important, and it's revealed to be lefty, so it's definitely CM. Um, I'm not sure if I like that Pharaoh switch-in. I guess if you think that KOs, but then also Nana didn't knock off the Pharaoh slots, so I guess he would have traded. In that case, he would have traded the T-Tar for a knock on Pharaoh, which is like not great. I think you want the lefties on Pharaoh, but if you get a Fleech Seeds up, it's kind of fine anyways. And I don't understand why the Finny didn't. No, the Finny didn't need a boost. I think that was a good Moonblast actually. Never mind, I take it back. Okay, and then we still. Why didn't we Rock Slide there? I feel like Rock Slide's better because you fish for Flint. Like Rock Slide, swap Volcanion or swap Rachi or swap Hands. So that you can pressure the Ferrothorn. And Rock Slide so that you actually get good damage on this Ogerpon. And have a chance to flinch the Pharaoh. Yeah, now it's Leech, so it's like the CM Fitting can't even really stay in. And he has no real way of pressuring this Pharaoh out. He can kind of just click buttons. Like you can just start IDFing and clicking Leech Seed, and it's like this Finny will never outdamage. Yeah, and it's revealed to be Scarflander here, probably. Yeah, see, like that just did 25. The accuracy drop is kind of annoying, but it's like it doesn't really matter because now you're like pretty far ahead at that point, so it's kind of just whatever. Damn, that's a crit. That crit is kind of annoying, but like the crit looks about it like it looked like it. So he must have high rolled with the 25 before because the crit did 29. So it must have been a low roll crit and high roll crit or low roll crit and high roll regular. I feel like I don't know. This is just kind of awkward for Nana, because he doesn't really have any ways of removing the Pharaoh. Yeah, like the Pharaoh can kind of just sit on the field here and leech. He's also not switching around at all to try and like negate the leech seed boost. Like he's basically just feeding the Ferrothorn health every turn. Like the Volcanion wasn't even brought out until like the last turn, like the or like one of the last few turns, and no like progress was attempted on it at all on the Pharaoh. Yeah, like I think I'm just gonna like fast. I'm just gonna make this fast. Because there's not really a lot to see like at this point. He just has no way of beating the Pharaoh. Or really the fish for that matter. Even the burn is like pretty big, but like it doesn't really matter because of the lead sheet. Okay, but yeah, I'm just gonna like look at this game as a whole. Like I think realistically, Nana just did not make pressure or progress at all into the Pharaoh. Like he kind of just let the Pharaoh sit on the field and make progress for like no reason. With mons that can't really touch it, like the Lando was not taunt. The Finny, like it was doing piss damage and was just like giving it free leech recovery. The Rachi wasn't really like wasn't starting it for any damage at all. It was just trying to support the Finny that wasn't doing anything. The Volcanion was sitting pretty, and the Iron Hands were literally just sitting pretty and back, not forcing the Terra on Ferrothorn so that you can probably maybe beat it with something else. Like, just no progress was made into the Ferrothorn. We just sat here and like let it take over the game for no reason. Not that I'll admit, like, because it's Water Pharaoh, there's not a whole lot of progress that this team can make into it. Because this team sucks into Water Pharaoh. But, like, you can at least try with, like, Volcanion. If you get a lucky burn like he did, like, in this end game, you can definitely beat Pharaoh. You just have to, like, actually use your Volcanion, which was not done this game, I feel. But yeah, let me see if there's more real quick. Alright, we got week 5 with Terry versus Sea Life. Another Sun team for Sea Life. I feel like Sea Life has been letting a lot of Sun recently. And then Terry, this is an old Era team, I believe. An old Aragon team. Oh, I remember. I think I remember watching this game. This game was kind of tragic. Yeah, I'm fine with the. I actually just Sea Life protect Zard here. Why do we not protect Zard here? I mean, I don't know. I feel like protecting Zard there is really safe. Like realistically, once the Intim and Sun are up, then like this Ogrepon's not really doing any damage. So you probably could have just wild charged the Zard for free the following turn. Or you probably could have just protect. I think it's fine. It's fine. It's just like I don't like that the possibility of wild charge and Zard was not accounted for here. The Mence comes in. The Mence makes a decent amount of progress on this board, unless U-turn. Okay, U-turn is not clicked into the hand slot. Mence makes a decent amount of progress here. This Zard is starting to take names here, though. Okay, that was a pretty heads up double edge from Terry. Like the Flutterman going down for him is pretty good here. You obviously want the lander, need the lander to go down still, but this crown can definitely do some stuff here. There's the fake outs. Ivy Cudgel. It's a good chip in the Lando. This is still pretty winnable, I think, for both sides. But this this Bonnet's gonna be a menace. Yeah. Oh, that's a big miss. Oh, that's wait, okay. Gets a little bit back. I don't know. Oh, does it change much? Oh, that being Tauntus. Damn. Wait. Okay, this is actually kind of unfortunate for That's Volt. I do like Volt a lot. I think Volt is very cool because it means you can do a lot of really nice positional stuff like this. Yeah, okay. This is looking kind of dicey for Terry. I think he needs to get the crown in and start either clicking CM, or he needs to get the crown in a bit earlier in front of like the taunted ogre pawn or the taunted brute pawn and stuff, and just start clicking. I feel this endgame is low key a little bit dicey for both of them because this bonnet the hands is just not making progress here. That was a really heads up side pawn buff there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I like this. I like the double from Terry here. Let's see if it pans out. It does not. Damn, that fish took a fuck ton. That's pretty bad for Terry here, actually. Because I think he was trying to catch the Draco and Lele again. But now the Diancie gets in for free, which is really bad here. I think it might die to the double up. I don't remember what the Lele set is. Oh yeah, most. Oh wait, well, yeah, okay, there it goes. Oh yeah, but now the double KO in return. So the question is like, whose last three beats? I think the Bonnet is just kind of Vaughn here, right? Like the Bonnet and the Volt. It's Cork Drive Speed, yeah. So you have to start CMing here, right? Oh, I don't like that. I feel like the Zard was never staying in, right? Or if the Zard was staying in, you could have just. I feel like you could have just Ivy Cudgel plus CM'd, right? Because realistically, the Raging Bolt's not putting that much pressure on the crown here, especially if it starts CMing. Um, the Bond switching in can be scary, but you have Taunt Ogre Bond, which was clicked here. Yep. Like imagine this turn if instead it's now +2/+2 crown. Like +2/+2 crown can genuinely just win this end game. That was a really good pollen buff from Sea Life also. Like getting the Zard back up to full is just means that the Crown struggles to break it a lot now. Yeah, I think that was a really heads up. In fact, pollen buff from Sea Life. I think that probably just won him the game because now the Zard is like kind of just not killable for Terry. Now you just double the hands. Yep, and the hands dies, and that should be the game because the Bonnet and the Zard together are too much for the Crown. That was a good voltage as well. Yeah. Sea Life played this endgame very cleanly. It's a good performance from him. Good work, Sea Life. Yeah. Alright, next game. Tio versus Voltix. I believe Terry loaded this 6. The the ones Voltix is using. This is, I think, an adaptation of an SVDOU ladder tour team that he brought into Kunal for, I believe it was NDPL or Derby. I think it was Derby. So double intimidate here into the Iron Hands lead. Iron Hand's not doing much here unless it's Ice Punch, which I don't necessarily think is super common in this tier. Tailwind. Ooh, the Z immediately? Ooh, that's a rough turn 1 for Voltix for sure. But then, yeah, not living is also kind of bad because it means you can use it to get a one-time intim on the... Wait, okay, why did we sack that? Okay, I guess we didn't sack it. I was a little confused. I was wondering why that happened that way. Okay. The Gambit has a very 3 SD here. I don't get the Mungus Protect though. I feel like going Lando there is pretty safe. Just to like sack it there. I don't necessarily think you need it for Vish at this point. You'd rather get the regen on a Mungus. I feel. Yeah, like I feel like that should have just been done last turn. Oh, this being Encore Rachi is also really dog shit. Oh yeah, and it just outspeeds still. So it's just like I don't really know what Teal was expecting to happen there. I mean, realistically, like it's Voltic still had one turn of Talon left, so this King Gambit was always getting Encored. But now he's just like really far behind because this T-Tar can just start clicking rock slides for free. Or even better, DDs in this case. Wait. Oh, that was a good. That was a weird trick room. That was a weird trick room. Yeah, because now the Amoongus gets in for free. That was weird. And also, you just boosted your Tar. I don't feel like there's much of a need to do that, really. I'm not. Yeah, I don't think I'm a big fan of that turn. So, okay. I was gonna say, because if. Yeah. Now we get a Spore. That was a good reversal from Voltix. I still don't quite understand why he said it in the first place, but you know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was pretty. There's a free Dragon Dance there. But now you just start clicking the Rock Slide button again and seeing how well it works for you. Yeah, the flinch is annoying, but I think at this point it's kind of just over anyways. Especially because the Ogre Pawn is most certainly like follow me. That could have gotten dicey if he didn't if he like couch out and the T-Tar missed. Was it decently like yeah I think it's too far behind for the miss to matter at this point, but like the miss is kind of unfortunate still. But this is just over. Yeah, like yeah, it doesn't even KO the Tar, so now it's done. Alright, next game. Karu versus Shister. Okay, so we're seeing a Spother Gaming. Oh my gosh, it's a classic Shister. That's a classic Shister Nicholas moment. This is, I believe, another Glimmer team, or this is a Glimmer like I associate Glimmer with Circuitry always. I'm not the biggest fan of Circuitry, Finny, and Fluttermane on the same team. I feel like you want one of two of three max. I think having that much fairy type offense is like kind of unnecessary in this tier because there's so many good steel types because of Flutterbane. And if you look at this, like the Zergotry is kind of a demon this game. But also so is the Espathra. So I like this Zergotry lead from Akaru because just you know immediately like forcing the offensive pressure down with the tailbow. But also you know Shister getting the immediate speed boost, the immediate like starting to stack boosts a little bit with Espathra. This is a good U-turn as well. Although this is almost certainly covert cloak circuitry. So whatever the Espathra is switching into is gonna get, or the Espathra itself is gonna get shaboinked by the +3 T-Bolt. That was a really good tail glow. This it's citrus. It's not even covert. Wow. Okay, that was a great bluff from Akaru. That was an excellent bluff. Yeah, that shit just dies. Wow. All the Espathra boosts went away for nothing. That's crazy. This instant takes like almost half back because of the Rocky Helmet on the Jirachi. That's a lot. Yeah, that was a fair icy one. It's an unfortunate miss, but I don't think it matters too much. If this guard is faster than the Zerg, it can get kind of annoying. Okay, it's like almost dead, basically. If this is Z parting shot instant, then low key this is kind of good here, right? Because you just you swap it Z parting shot and you're fine. Feels like Akaru's trading this down very well. And this is and also this is a pretty disrespectful bring from Shister, I feel. Okay, there's the Z parting shot. So here the Zerg comes back in at full. Holy shit, against the Espathra that's just starting to boost again. Alright, so the guard gets basically a Quiver Dance boost. Oh, and the Zerg tries to catch the Rilla actually catches the Zerg T-Bolt on the switch. That's actually really good for a Shister. Which means this guard is like in a really good spot right now. Because it can just click Hyper Voice uncontested. I would imagine this is no, it's Citrus Berry Finny. Is this support Finny, perhaps? Citrus Berry feels like an auto-aim choice on CM. Yeah, now the guard kind of just wins. I don't really think there's much of a way out. There's a really heads up Tailwind and a really heads up P shot from Akari though. Okay. It's a good declaim. This is like Akari is playing this very cleanly. It's just like there's not much he can do, realistically. Like at this point, it's kind of just like the guard is in position to win. Oh, and then the classic side fake out to apparently not lock into a move. Man, Akari might be the goat. And then into a crit, because obviously crit is like the only thing that can actually win you the game here. Alright, so one last one before we're actually up to date, and local man watches however many NDDOU replays is done. Bro, Era must have been mad tired after that shit. My voice is fucking cooked. Okay. This is a pretty old team structure. The Mingus, I think this is pretty similar to the TO team that was, I think, also loaded this week, or I don't remember last week. The games are blurring together in my head. It was, in fact, this week, but all of the mono orders are different, hilariously. Immediate Terror Grass from the Blastoise to redirect the Spore. Then we see the Z, Trick Room, Bronzong, and this is the Sea Life team. So now, Hypnosis hits. The knockoff just actually Oko's the Blastoise, which is kind of cool. That Kingambit guy has hands. We're gonna see another Hypnosis. And then a sub on the Ursaluna? Yeah, that's a good, that's a really heads up sub. Because now the Kingambit's really behind. Hitting the extra hypnosis, or the Kingambit's really like threatened, and hitting the extra hypnosis is really good. Like this Bronzong is just making so much progress here that it's like, it's very difficult for Glimmer to dislodge. And the thing is, it's also, this is heat-proof Bronzong, it's not Levitate. Like on preview you would think it's Levitate, but so this is another reason why, like, it's a reason why Glimmer's not bringing out the Lando to like snipe it. Yeah, that's why she brings out the Heatran here rather than the Lando. It's a good sub to fish for Wake Up on the Mingus and um, give the Ursulin another tick of burn. But it just goes to bad. But now the Ments comes in, and this is really dicey, because now you can just get another Trick Room up. You can just fish for more Hypnosises. Yeah, I think that's fine. That's like a fine Headlong Rush. You probably could have been a bit more aggressive there. This is a bit of an awkward spot for Kanal, because this Bronzong can definitely get spored. Because it's not been speed up, I guess as it's been revealed. Yeah. So now there's no Trick Room up. The Mungus isn't even dead. So the Ursaluna is like a little bit like sweating. So Ursaluna dies. Bronzong stays asleep. But because it's heat-proof Bronzong, it actually walls both mons out on the field. Which means that realistically, if it wakes up, it can just click Hypnosis. And now the DD Ments comes out. This is not Tailwind DD. This is just straight up DD. So now the fat ass DD ments can just start clicking buttons here. Heat wave. No burn, luckily. And here it reveals heat proof on the zone. This is a bit of a weird turn, but here the heat wave actually burns the Salamence, which makes this immediately much harder for Kunal to actually make progress into this endgame. Because now, like, his damage is just completely cut. The Tran also becomes much harder for him to break. So nice crit immediately. I would assume it mattered. If it was not, if it was bulky Lando, it definitely mattered. And now this Tran is kind of able to just sit here in front of the field, on the field in front of the Salamence. I don't really think there was much of a way that Salamence could have, or that Kunal could have prevented the, what's it called? The Heatran from burning it there. I mean, like, the burn is just unfortunate. I guess you could have probably doubled it, maybe, but, like, I don't know. I can't blame him for that. I would have probably done the same thing. Yeah, so we see the Roost. Roost also means it gets Grassy Turn Recovery, which is really nice into this Heatran. And you can kind of just start removing everything around the Heatran, because you should theoretically win. This guy dies. Get the Zong in. And this is nothing, get a T-proof. It's a bit of a weird turn. Okay, so now, yeah, protect, and you sack the Zong to get the Marshadow in. Or the one of the Rilla in. So you can Grassy Glide the, yeah. You Grassy Glide, turn the Fluttermane. Yeah, because Spectral Thief can hit through Substitute, so you can chip the, Heatran down through Sub. Albeit, to be honest, you could probably have clicked Protect, Return to see, like, how, if it breaks Sub. Because then you can, like, CC in the endgame, which feels good to me here, but yeah, like, you can probably Protect Return. I'm not sure necessarily. Yeah, I think the second DD might have been a little greedy. Because if you, like, Protect Return or even Protect DD, I feel like just all turns with the Marsh. Like, I don't feel like we need to sack Marsh there, because I feel like it just can get a little close like this. Yeah, so now we're having, like, Roost leftover Sub Wars. It does break Sub. So now this can definitely become a little mind gamey. Lost 4 Roosts, a bunch of returns. Notably, Glimmer only has 4 Heat Waves. Okay, so roosting, the Heatran's getting really healthy. Looks like it might be in range of one more after, but now it's subs up again. Protect. If it was a roost on that turn, it would have probably been a little bit better, but you know, this is a really dicey endgame for both players, I feel. Okay, it's a sub broken. So now it's a question of is this a roll, and does Kunal get it? And does he roost? Okay, he doesn't roost. Does he roost here? He returns and he gets a roll again. Yeah, this is a little bit of this is a pretty dicey endgame for both, I would say. This got down to 2 heat waves and 2 roosts, which I think in the no. I actually think in the no roost scenario, Glimmer can win because sub protect, left sub lefties protect can maybe outstall the burn chip. Maybe, but either way, good game. I think for the last one. Killed Bronzong. That guy's a terrorist. And I think that's the end of the video. So, GG. Fire emoji. This has been Local Man watches a fuck ton of SV NDDOU games. GG.